Peace. So we have the village mentality and then we have the individual mentality. I want to ask you a question. Which mentality do you think is conducive for our people? Is the village mentality conducive? Is the individual mentality conducive? And if we understand what I'm asking you, then we can use history as a measuring stick and take a look and utilize history to go back and to go forward and to see if either or is best for us. And if it is, whatever one is best, then we need to begin to examine and recreate how we can make it best for us and how we can utilize it together, or how each and every person can gain from this individual mentality or this village mentality. Now, for me personally, the best mentality to me personally is the village mentality. As an individual, I have a mental state already. You understand what I mean? And depending upon the mental state that I'm in as an individual, I could either be an asset or a liability to the village. You understand what I mean? Most of the times I will be an asset to the village because of the mind and, the thought process that I'm under. You see what I mean? So then you may have somebody who says, well, you know what? I like the individual mentality. I could do for myself. Do for me, ain't got to worry about nobody else, take care of my business, and so on and so forth. That's a good thing to do, if that's what you choose to do. But see, as individuals, we all do that anyway because we all have individual lives. So as individuals, we take care of ourselves, or we're supposed to. We try to take care of our business, or we're supposed to. We try to pay our bills, or we're supposed to, as the individual. There are other things that we do as individuals as well. But the village mentality allows me to find like minds who are like me, like minds. And we can sit down together and we can brain shoot. We can put together a master plan. You understand what I'm saying? With an outcome attached to it. You know what I mean? With objectives, with procedures and methods and so on and so forth. And we can build the village. But it's going to take other individuals to build a village. You can't build a village by yourself. So my thing is this: the individual idea, the individual mentality is a good mentality. But the individual mentality is no good if it doesn't allow other individuals to collectively unite and to build. See, sometimes the individual mentality is a devil, because the individual mentality is actually ambitious and is actually seeking to control or to take control of a situation and to lead the situation individually. Leading a bunch of others as an individual without counsel, without guidance, without the wisdom of your brothers and sisters. You understand what I'm saying? You take on this lead, and what happens is an individual usually becomes a tyrant. They may start off with good intentions, but an individual becomes a tyrant without checks and balances. So the village approach, for me, the village mentality, is one that's a healthy mentality. Now, we see that this mentality is missing in our communities today. And we see that this village mentality, if it was in place, we wouldn't have as many kidnappings and so many other things that's going on. You know what I mean? Our kids being stripped right off the streets, you know what I'm saying? Or sisters' children being beaten to death by some cat who just came home or something of that nature. What happens is, if you have a village approach, you will have elders in the tribunal who will go and approach and take care of these things right within the village. You won't need the police. Because see, the village has its own police. We don't need an external outside foreign occupation coming into the community or into the village to tell us how to run our village. You see what I'm saying? Because the village is controlled by the individuals who now make up a council in the village. It could be the elders as well as a combination of the youth and the elders together, men and women making up this council. You understand what I'm saying? And taking care of the village in a proper way. Individually, it's very hard for us to do what we need to do as a village, because in the village, anybody that's an individual is going to bring harm to the village, because they're not there for the village. They're there for their own selves. And what that means is they will do anything to make sure that their own selves prosper, even if that means to cut the throat of somebody else or to step on somebody else's neck to get To a point, they'll do that. That's the individual approach. And that approach at times is a very egotistical approach. It's a dangerous approach. You understand what I'm saying? Because you're more at harm by yourself than you are with a village. You understand what I'm saying? So you have to take into consideration why these things are important. Ask yourself, are you a village mind or are you an individual mind? Because see, every village has individuals. Understand that every village is made up of individuals. But does every individual have the mind to be able to operate inside of a village mentality? Is that the case? And if that's so, does everybody operate under the same guise, or must I operate under your ideal of what the village means? Or do we sit down as a collective and put together what the village is, and the standards and the procedures and the principles and so on and so forth of the village, the do's and the don'ts, the laws of the village? The laws must be just and fair. They can't be beneficial to one side or one group of people. The laws must be able to be beneficial to all in the village. The law must live so that the village can prosper. You understand what I'm saying? But as an individual, we do not allow ourselves to prosper within the village approach, because we find, as a weak individual thought process, we find that everybody in the village is after us. That I got something as an individual that everybody in the village wants. See, that's an egotistical approach. That's actually someone who has no courage to work inside of the village, because this person doesn't have a working knowledge of their own self to know if they can operate within the realms of a commune of people and operate from a just place. You understand what I'm saying? So the village mentality is what's going to save us, because the village mentality is what kept us at one point in time safe. The village mentality to me is segregation. The individual mentality to me is integration. When they integrated us, we became individualized. Now it's all about me and me and me and I. But as segregation, we had the village approach because all we had was each other at that particular time. There was no distractions. We bought and sold from each other. We dealt with each other. You understand what I'm saying? In our communities, if a dollar got pressed out, it went through 10 or 11 different hands. I don't even think it left the community, because we had everything we needed within our own villages. We had our own, again, like we had our own stuff. We had our own stuff. You understand what I'm saying? And we must get back to the village approach. And one way we're going to get back to it is by separation. We have to separate ourselves consciously. We have to separate ourselves from a system that don't need us, that never wanted us, even though everything that this system has, it was built on our blood, sweat, and tears. The cultural paradigm of America, quote unquote, is the so-called black experience. Everything. If we was smart, we would do a mass lawsuit on America for cultural infringement and for intellectual properties and so on and so forth. Because you know what? Everything that this American culture is, it came from us. Everything. Every single thing. They hate us, but they love what we produce and what we manufacture, because it's ultimately creative. It's ultimately divine. You understand what I'm saying? So we have to begin to re-examine our own selves and get back and separate ourselves from the system and begin to do our own things without them, because we can. We can. We don't have to be dependent. You become dependent over the last 4 or 5 decades. You become dependent on these people, on the Democratic Party, the Republican Party. You become dependent. You know what I'm saying? When we are our own party and we have enough genius to recreate the village approach. So again, ask yourself, are you a village or are you an individual? Peace.